Good afternoon. Thank all of you for being here today. I wanted to ask you to come to City Hall in relation to public safety in the city of Montgomery. As always, public safety is our number one priority in our city, to protect the city and make it safe for everyone, to make it a healthy city for each and every person that lives, works, or visits this community. This last week or so has been a trying time, and actually what we have seen for much of this year, although statistically better than 2022, does not feel that way. And we certainly recognize that issue with the public. That's one of the reasons why Mayor James Perkins and I have been planning with our Office of Violence Prevention and other members of our staff and his team to have a Community Violence Intervention Summit for several months. We were pleased to have several hundred individuals come out to this summit to give us feedback, to offer solutions, and to make sure that we were on the right track and doing some of the things that would make this community safe, not just here in the city of Montgomery, but what we're seeing in the region and throughout the state as well. And we found that to be very, very productive, getting a lot of ideas, a lot of initiatives that we believe will be helpful to the city moving forward. And we look forward to presenting those ideas to our city council as well as to the public to make sure that this city remains safe, that this city certainly is a healthy city, and this city remains prosperous in each and every way, regardless of zip code. So that is always at the top of our mind here at City Hall and with this administration. Certainly, in the last couple of days, it came to my attention that the police chief, Darrell Albert, would resign. He formalized that in a letter, which I accepted, and we thank Chief Albert and his family for their service to Montgomery. We thank him for his leadership over the last couple of years and the positive things that he did within the administration. We certainly appreciate those things that he did in community outreach and creating federal partnerships and initiatives and strengthening some of our law enforcement areas, which we had maybe fallen a little bit behind on. That said, we do know that there were issues retaining officers. Those issues are not just a local issue. Those issues are also statewide. That presents a problem for any leader who is trying to have the best organization they can. Recruitment and retention of our police officers have to be at the very top of our list, and they certainly are. But also culture is a part of that. Making sure that we have a positive culture within our organizations across this administration is something that is so desperately needed, because that impacts our productivity, it impacts results, it impacts morale. All of those things are very important. And when you consider the stress that our police officers are under each and every day, it's important that we have a positive culture and one of support and one that is collaborative to surround them so that they can be successful, so that they can be safe and return home to their families each and every day. Finally, we want to make sure that we have the trust with our community. We want to make sure the community can trust our police department and can trust everyone that works there from top to bottom, whether they're working at the jails, whether they are emptying the trash can, or whether they are in the command staff or rank and file. We want to make sure that our community has the full trust of the police department in each and everything that we're doing to protect and serve this community. For us, we turn the page now to thank Acting Chief John Hall to lead this department during this time until we name an interim, and we will begin a search for a new police chief. We believe that looking forward is what's in the best interest of our city, and making sure that we have the best leader that inhabits those characteristics and traits that we need to lead our public safety right here in Montgomery to be the best city that we can be and be the best police department we can be is of the utmost responsibility, the utmost priority. It is my responsibility to make sure that happens. So with that, I'll just pause and certainly just want to again thank you all for coming here today, and thank you for the job that you do. And again, we want to make sure that our community understands that public safety is and always is at the top of mind of how we can improve, how we can be collaborative, how we can serve and protect our community, and how we can make sure we're coming up with community-oriented solutions to address the issues of the day, whatever they may be. With that, I'll open up for any questions that you may have. Okay. I'll come in. I'll come right to you.
Does this have anything to do with the sexual harassment complaints that have been filed?
Well, does what have anything to do with it?
His resignation is being put on a leave.
Well, his resignation came from him. So you have to ask him why he decided to offer that resignation. Well, he was put on administrative leave because there was an active investigation around a number of issues that came up.
What were those issues?
One of those issues was sexual harassment. One of those.
How many cases?
In how many cases? Well, that's a issue I can't get into. That's a personnel matter, and so we can't get into that.
But it was more than one?
No. Now that I can tell you. Yes.
So, Mayor, when you sworn in Chief Albert, you basically said that the police department would operate with transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that the city and MPD have done that over the past couple of years?
I certainly do. Yes.
Who initiated the investigation?
The investigation was done by our Criminal Investigations Department, which now is the Office of Inspector General.
Will the city conduct the new chief search any differently from the last?
No. We will pretty much take the same approach that we did last time. We'll work with law enforcement professionals who we trust. We'll work with, we'll post the job itself in a number of days or weeks. And we will ask community leaders to advise us on those candidates as we get those resumes in once we get to a certain point.
And so it's my understanding that, of course, the city has received complaints about Chief Albert. He is the subject of those complaints. Can we have a timeline of when those issues came to your attention over the past 2 years?
Well, let me just say this. In terms of it being on me getting the report, has been within the last month. And so from there, I analyzed the report. We placed Chief Albert on leave, and during the time he was placed on leave, he offered his resignation.
You said that the sexual harassment was one of the issues. Are you able to touch on any of the other issues that were maybe addressed from officers?
Well, there were issues around morale. There were issues around just internal operations of the police department itself.
In terms of the sexual harassment complaint, Renee Hampton has said that she gave that to your office last fall, and that your attorney knew about it, and then you knew about it last fall.
Well, I didn't know about it last fall.
I had no idea
No.
about any of these
No.
accusations
No.
until a month ago.
No, what she submitted and what an attorney submitted, because we get a lot of those, was a letter saying that there was an issue with the police chief. And so we get a lot of those. What I go off of is not innuendo, is not what an attorney sends to me, or is not what someone may be hinting at to the city itself. What I go after is, what do we have in the Office of Criminal Investigations, and what decision do I need to make?
But there wasn't
I'm going to go right.
complaint filed, right?
I'm going to come right to you.
Will Renee Hampton be reinstated?
Her issue had nothing to do with this investigation. Officer Hampton was terminated because she did not do things in her job as a police officer. Had nothing to do with this investigation. That happened prior to that. Now, the process can play out, and I believe that's what she has tried to do with other complaints.
Prior to hiring Chief Albert, what were the discussions like about the accusations that had followed him for a few more weeks? What were the details of that you found out for your office?
Well, we found credible references that Chief Albert had in law enforcement across this country. And we asked those references about his experience, his professionalism, and the job that he could do as leading a department of this size. All came back very, very strong, all came back very clear from people he had worked with and people that he had worked for. So we found those references to be very strong, and we thought that was certainly appropriate. And certainly when looking at some of the others that applied, we found that he had the best resume. And when we brought him before some of the members of the community, we thought that he did a very good job, and so did they. And he was recommended number one by that task force that included former law enforcement officers as well as current federal law enforcement officers as well.
So the previous sexual harassment allegations, they weren't a concern, or you thought that they were nothing to worry about, or that they weren't valid? What was the...
We had no finality in any report of anything being corroborated from his previous time.
Mayor, there's been some speculations. There's been some speculations that either you or your wife were related to G. Albert in some way. Can you confirm or deny that with us? If so, then how you guys are related?
You know, if I was related to Chief Albert, you know, God has blessed me in a lot of ways, but he did not bless me with the height gene. So I know to some, maybe if you know someone from a certain city or you choose someone from a particular area, there's a hint of being related or knowing. I did not know Chief Albert from anyone until I saw his resume. So no, there's no familiar relation there. Again, if I don't think I have anybody in my family that's over 6 feet or 6'1". So that's a stretch in a lot of ways. I've heard a lot of things again, but that's a real stretch there.
You talk about trust. When did Chief Albert lose your trust?
Well, listen, I think that the conversation that Chief Albert and I had upon him submitting his letter of resignation was whether or not the police department could go forward in a positive manner under his leadership. And we mutually agreed to his resignation that it might need a new voice. It might need new direction. And I think when you've been in law enforcement for 30 plus years, as Chief Albert has, he understands that. And so, you know, he wished nothing but the best for the department, nothing but the best for this community.
When you're talking about transparency going forward, I mean, are we going to get any kind of a report about these sexual harassment complaints? Are we going to get any kind of a definitive to know what happened? Because that goes to the culture of the whole department.
Well, let me say. Well, I think for us, we have to comply with the law. And when you have a personnel matters, we do not just with the police chief, but of people of all levels. We do not reveal the details of a personnel report. Those things, maybe the press might have access to, might be able to get, but we do not reveal those as a matter of city policy. So it doesn't matter what position that you hold. If there's an allegation, and there have been allegations of discrimination, of hostile work environment, of sexual harassment from other departments as well, we cannot reveal those.
Talking about staffing, where are your staffing numbers in terms of police officers?
We're right at 293 officers.
And is that full capacity? Is that as many as you need?
No, we need far many, as do most departments within the state of Alabama. I think when you look at all of our departments in the major cities in the state of Alabama, you'll see strong shortages because of a lot of people retiring in the last 4 or 5 years, not being able to keep up with the job market and not being able to make sure that we can have the amount of people on our roads, in our neighborhoods, and in our communities protecting and serving. You know, policing has become a very, very tough job. You've got a lot of stress. You've got a lot of anxiety in the position. And so for us, across this board, we're looking at how do you recruit and retain people who want to be in law enforcement, people who want to be in public safety. And I don't know that any city has found a panacea, has found a silver bullet for that. So for us, we're looking at ways. Chief Albert mentioned several months ago to increase the salaries. Well, we had already increased the salaries 14% within the first 3 years of my coming on board, and that was the largest one-time increase the police department had ever had. So we was looking at doing that, and we presented a plan to the city council to make us competitive. But these are things that we talk about with the Alabama Big Ten mayors. These are things that we talk about at a national level, and these are things that police departments are dealing with each and every day across this country is how do you make sure that you have the necessary men and women on your police force to adequately protect and respond to issues around public safety in your city.
And what's that number here?
What's that?
What's the number that you need to get up to in the city?
Well, ideally, we'd like to be in that 350 number. That would be ideal for us.
So does the chief's decision to resign, does that involve any form of compensation package or a buyout on either of you guys' behalf?
No,
And was he, when he was placed on administrative leave, was he on paid or unpaid?
he was on paid leave. And he has a right to due process, as does any employee for the city of Montgomery. So I think that's important for people to know as well.
So there's no severance package for him?
No.
What impact do you think it's going to have on recruitment when the person selected, that you selected to be the police chief has got allegations such as Chief Albert?
Can you repeat the question?
What impact do you think it's going to have on your recruitment efforts when the person you selected as police chief is facing allegations that Chief Albert is facing?
Well, he's no longer here. So we have Acting Chief Hall that's leading this department right now. And we're going to continue to be a department that has high standards, that has a high resolve to protect and serve this community. And I appreciate each and every person who does that for this police department. So I expect us to be able to look both high and low, look inside the police department and outside as well for the best person to lead us forward. And
You don't anticipate it would negatively impact recruitment efforts?
no, I do not.
How will you be looking for, I mean, what's the process for looking for the next chief?
Well, what we've done, I'll get with Chief of Staff Chip Hill and myself, and we will consult with other members of our community here about who we want to assist us in this endeavor. We'll post a position as we do each and every position with the city, but we'll also go to those law enforcement organizations as well. It will be talking to people like Acting Chief Hall as well as others about internal candidates along with that. So the goal for us is not to rush to hire, but to make the right hire.
Speaking of MPD, is there a reason why their comments were turned off on their social media? There have been some people that have noticed that they cannot put comments on their pages.
I really don't keep up with the that aspect of our social media, so I'll check into it. What's that? No,
Did you direct the comments to be turned off?
no, not at all. I check comments on my own page, so from time to time. So no, I didn't, but we'll find out. That's a good question. Anything else? All right. Well, listen. Thank y'all very much. We appreciate you coming out. Have a great day.